Hello, my friends. Welcome back. It is time for you and me to get our minds aligned with the truth of God. I'm so thankful you're here. I'm thankful you're taking your own spiritual health and walk with the Lord seriously enough that you're setting aside time daily to get your mind aligned with the truth of God. Today, we're going to be looking at Luke chapter 12, verses 39 through 40. This is a series we started back on March 1st, I believe, talking about the issue of anxiety from Jesus' perspective. So we are getting the lowdown on what anxiety is and how to deal with it. It's a very relevant subject for this day and age in which we live. Before we get there, I wanted to let you know I have just a handful of books that the Lord has blessed me to be able to write over the years that I would love to be of help to you. You can find them at careygreene.com/books. That's C-A-R-E-Y, greenlikethecolor.com/books. And just check them out. There's all kind of resources. There's fiction. There's a children's book. Please check it out and let me know what you think of the resources I've created there. All right, today, Luke chapter 12, verses 39 through 40. I have to be honest with you. As I've read this passage, this short little 2 verses over the course of my Christian life, it's not made the most sense to me in the context of anxiety and in the context of what Jesus just said about how to orient our mindset to keep us focused on the right things. It seems like it just comes out of nowhere, but it's making sense on me now that I've spent some time pondering it in preparation for this episode. Luke 12, 39 through 40 says this, "But know this, that if the master of the house had known at what hour the thief was coming, he would not have left his house to be broken into. You also must be ready. For the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect." Now, the interesting thing about this is in the previous verses, Jesus was telling us we need to be like men who are dressed for action, who have their lamps burning and are awaiting their master's return, so that when he comes, they can perform their duties for their master and actually receive blessing from their master for being faithful and being available and able. Then he moves into this section and he uses that same imagery of a master of a house, but notice there are not any servants in play here. So we are out of the picture in this first verse. He says, "Know this, if the master of the house had known at what hour the thief was coming, he would not have left his house to be broken into." So imagine yourself at your home. And if you knew a thief had an appointment to break into your house at 1 a.m., what would you do? If you knew without a doubt that was going to happen? Well, you'd have the police there. You'd have some undercover cop. You would have, your own arsenal out ready to go. I mean, you would have friends over to help you ward off the thief. I mean, you would be prepared. That's the point of verse 39. If you knew when something vital or important was going to happen, you would prepare for it. Verse 40 then makes the application for us. He says, "You also must be ready." So just like you would be ready to defend your home against a thief, you need to be ready for what? For the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect. What is he saying? He's saying you want to make sure that in the way you live your life, in the way you think about your life, in the attitude, the demeanor, the character you're developing, you are ready for when the Son of Man comes, because he's not going to come at a time when you're typically going to be ready or when you're expecting it. So you just need to be ready for a return any time of the Son of Man. Now, in the immediate context in which Jesus was speaking historically, he was at least in part warning his Jewish listeners that he would be coming in judgment around AD 70. He didn't delineate the date, but that's how it happened in history. He came and he judged Israel for the rejection of their Messiah. He brought this terrible destruction at the hands of Rome on the city of Jerusalem. And the Jewish system of sacrifice and priesthood and temples was forever abolished in that judgment. So he was warning them, you need to make sure you're ready for that. You need to have your orientation toward this kingdom of God that I've just spoken about. But he's telling us in the same breath, you need to be ready because the Son of Man is still returning. He will return. And we need to be ready for the Master's return, and anxious for nothing. Our anxiety about this life should not be our focus. Our focus on His return and the blessedness of that should be where we're looking. Jesus, help us to orient our minds toward your promised future, your eventual return, and make us eager to be ready for that day. Help us to make the right preparation, to develop character, to walk in faith, so that you, our Master, will be pleased and will be honored on that day when you return.